Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, Professor the Honorable Eugene Barreto, Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UWI CaveHill campus, Professor Winston Moore, Deputy Principal of the UWI CaveHill campus, Dr. Elizabeth Ferdinand, and Major David Clark, co-coordinators of the National COVID-19 vaccination campaigns, Mr. Romel Carter, Campus Registrar, Ms. Lisa Aline, Campus Bursar, Dr. Dion Greenwich, Senior Lecturer in Management Studies and the UWI Co-Coordinator of Operation Seek and Save, Lieutenant Colonel Junior Brown, Officer in Charge at the Law Library, and also the UWI Co-Coordinator of Operation Seek and Save, student volunteers for both the Seek and Save and the vaccination program, staff of the Barbados Defense Force, the campus community, all families, friends, the general public, good afternoon and welcome. I hope you're putting your good afternoons in the Zoom chat or the Facebook Live comments, because we're not able to be with you physically, but we really want you to be a part of this ceremony. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you to the COVID-19 Student Appreciation event. I am Khalid Holder, Student Services Manager in the Office of Student Services here at the UWI CaveHill campus, and I'm your Master of Ceremonies for this evening's ceremony, which is quite simple, yet it is tremendously inspirational. It is where we record our heartfelt gratitude or heartfelt thanks to all of our UWI students who participated in the National COVID-19 vaccination campaign and of course, Operation Seek and Save initiative. So, to get us started, it is indeed my great pleasure to welcome Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UWI CaveHill campus, Professor the Honorable Eugene Barreto, to give us some welcome remarks.
Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Khalid Holder, also our Student Services Manager, the Office of Student Services, the Honorable Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Amor Motley, Professor Winston Moore, Deputy Principal, the UWI CaveHill campus, Dr. Elizabeth Ferdinand, Co-Coordinator of the National COVID-19 vaccination campaign, Major David Clark, Co-Coordinator of the National COVID-19 vaccination campaign, Mr. Romel Carter, Campus Registrar, the UWI CaveHill campus, Ms. Lisa Aline, Campus Bursar, UWI CaveHill, Dr. Dion Greenwich, Head of Management Studies at the UWI Coordinator of Operation Seek and Save, Lieutenant Colonel Junior Brown, Officer in Charge at the Law Library, and also a co-coordinator of Operation Seek and Save. Student volunteers for both the Seek and Save and the vaccination program, staff of the Barbados Defense Force, the campus community, family, friends, and the general public. Good afternoon and welcome to this ceremony to render our appreciation of the efforts put in by our student volunteers. The COVID-19 pandemic originated in December 2019. And since then, much has been said about this dreadful disease. In years to come, far more will be said and written. There are many scholars right now hard at work analyzing this global pandemic and the multiple ways it has unsettled and disrupted our lives. It has affected our lives from the way we work and worship to every dimension of our socialization and recreation. In a very real sense, the pandemic drove people apart, not just simply 6 feet away, But in the virtual world of online communities, let me be the first to confess, I have Zoom fatigue. I know many of you will agree with me when I say that we are already zoomed out, but we have to maintain our virtual connections in order to keep our societies functioning. We also have to ensure that our community of social beings does not morph into enclaves of reclusive family units. Researchers are no doubt studying, and I hope many at UWI at the CaveHill campus, how all of this has affected our emotional well-being. I so miss seeing students on the grounds of the CaveHill campus and all over the place. I never thought I would miss them so much. I really miss y'all and look forward to you being all over CaveHill, fingers crossed, in the new semester. Let's hope everything goes all right. However, one of the positive developments we saw with COVID-19 was clear evidence of the close union that exists between universities and their wider communities. Throughout this pandemic, universities have continued to demonstrate their extensive capacity for widespread social impact. This is especially true of the University of the West Indies CaveHill campus. We take great pride and care in continuously building greater engagement between the academy and the communities that we serve. In my more than 3 decades of association with the UWI, I have witnessed many initiatives where this institution has shown its considerable value to the people of the Caribbean. We have demonstrated ready responsiveness and a high level of civic engagement throughout many national and regional crises. One will always find the UWI, and here I mean the entire UWI. I don't only mean the CaveHill campus. One will always find the UWI at the vanguard of navigating many required regional adjustments. For example, like driving perennial efforts to strengthen regional integration, we are particularly good at that, or more recent concerns such as sargassum intrusion, or the most recent volcanic explosion. Quite often, our intervention takes the form of community engagement in response to institutional priorities and overall national and regional development plans. A true demonstration of UWI at work in the community, and here I mean in the Caribbean community in Barbados and throughout. Ladies and gentlemen, students, today I can say with absolute certainty that I am truly challenged to find in recent memory an instance of community engagement by the UWI, especially one requiring courage, character, and commitment from its youngest members within that can equal or surpass what was undertaken by this band of CaveHill heroes whom we are celebrating today. And there's a part of me that feel that I should say, and heroes. This public health intervention project, in which they played a vital role, may well be a global precedent. Hundreds of young men and young women, CaveHill students, confronted danger daily to help this country and region fight a worldwide threat, the likes of which we may not see again in our lifetime. And truth be told, I hope we do not see another one in our lifetime, and especially the younger ones. It is for this reason that as head of this institution, I am both pleased and honored to spearhead the campus's acknowledgement of their courageousness and self-sacrifice, of juggling their studies and placing service before self. I wish to say directly to the students, many of whom are here with us today and more following on Zoom, that Barbados recognizes that it was nothing short of bravery, sheer bravery, which you exhibited by volunteering to participate in the UWI Government of Barbados Community Evaluation and Testing Project, which was branded by a much more sexy and catchy name, Operation Seek and Save. Ladies and gentlemen, the Barbadian public experienced UWI CaveHill students giving back to the Barbadian community. And these were not only Barbadian students. We want our students to leave CaveHill with a commitment to the Caribbean community. And these exercises build these connections. I remember feeling so proud when I went to get my vaccination, and the student who was taking my data was a CaveHill medical student, but he was from Trinidad and Tobago. And it emphasized that all the volunteers came from the CaveHill community. You're a CaveHill student and they volunteered. So as I was saying, as a second and deadlier wave of COVID-19 gathered momentum across Barbados, you, the student volunteers, faced down the virus to participate in an essential field study that would yield critical life-saving data. And you did it without flinching, even as the majority of the Barbadian population hunkered down at home as they were required to. They were under national lockdown, or were hesitant in some cases to leave the relative safety of their households. To you, this country owes an enormous debt of gratitude. I wish to also acknowledge the sterling contribution of those under whose guidance you function. In particular, Dr. Dion Greenwich and Lieutenant Colonel Junior Brown, Ms. Dale Lynch and the staff of the Office of Student Services, Mr. Chelson Lovell, and so many others from the CaveHill campus community. I also wish to commend members of the Barbados Defense Force, the Transport Board, and others without whose support this exercise would not have been carried out without such flawless execution. You gave the kind of leadership and direction so necessary for our young people to witness and to flourish, especially in times of adversity. These students knew the danger which they faced. We must confess that all of us were very concerned in January and February with the second wave. I listened to and read interviews with them where many made it clear they were doing it for love of country and a sense of service to the Caribbean community. They also wanted to spare younger siblings and younger Caribbean persons from the ravages of a prolonged COVID-19 spread. I too was acutely aware of the vulnerability of my students, and I prayed daily that they would all be safe as they conducted this exercise. While you were out there in the field, I was saying prayers, Lord, please keep them safe, please keep them safe. I want to thank Chief of Staff of the Barbados Defense Force, Colonel Glenn Granham, and his officers for the excellent care that they took of our students in the field. I have to say that while they were demonstrating their true mettle by lending frontline support to combat an unfolding health crisis, they, or you, the students, were also exhibiting the indomitable spirit of the UWI CaveHill Blackbird. This time, a Blackbird victory also meant a national triumph for Barbados and another UWI success story in the university helping another Caribbean country. And we all know the outcome. Your successful mission enabled public health officials in Barbados to collect information and apply appropriate intervention measures that would prevent COVID-19 from spiraling out of control. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the record will show that more than 400 CaveHill students lent their efforts to Operation Seek and Save. I speak not only of those who did the legwork of visiting households island-wide, but others who assisted with evaluating the data at the command center. Those were students doing their masters in business analytics, and Dr. Greenidge used them, allowed them to deploy their skills in helping to design the program and analyze the data. And those of you watching in the Caribbean, this is the kind of thing that happens at CaveHill, so you better come. They were involved, as I mentioned, when I went to a vaccination site, they were involved at vaccination sites and provided other logistical support. Their efforts provided the basis on which public health officials were able to formulate a successful response against the spread of COVID-19 and dengue fever. To be part of formulating, I don't want to make it sound as if I'm saying only that work did it, but the work of Operation Seek and Save played a vital part in the national effort to create a successful response. What is not so well known about this student contribution, however, is that the final number of participants emerged from more than 900 who had volunteered for the exercise when the initial offer was put to the student body. That offer was made again during the lockdown. And more than 900 students immediately, registrar said, I want to be part of this effort. Such is the level of commitment among our students in wanting to give back to this community and to the region. Reports reaching me from several quarters, and I hope I don't get into any trouble with his lordship, but including a call from the Chief Justice of Barbados, who called me to commend the campus about the student who had interviewed him. He didn't want any publicity, but for the Chief Justice of Barbados to take time out from his busy day to call me and commend the CaveHill student. You can imagine how I felt, and his wasn't the only one. I received many, many messages, and it indicated that the behavior of our students was exemplary and professional. In spite of long hours, tough conditions, and extended periods in the field, the students acquitted themselves in a manner befitting true CaveHill ambassadors, for which they earned widespread praise. I remember a friend of mine, a professional woman, said she even tried to tempt the young lady who interviewed her with a piece of coconut bread. And she just said, no ma'am, we can't have anything, I can't come in and I'm not allowed to eat anything. I said, why are you being so wicked and you're a CaveHill graduate? But I was pleased that it worked. I mean, but the training by Ms. Lynch in Student Services and Mr. Holder and all the others worked. At an individual level, the students themselves gained much by way of personal development. As I mentioned, Director of the Office of Student Services, Ms. Gail Lynch, who with her staff was involved in selecting and training the volunteers, so it was her task to take from the 900 and bring us down to 400, informed me that of the 235 students who provided feedback, and that's still a high number because they still had to finish and run and do their exams and catch up. Many of them identified having enhanced or developed the following skills. So 235 wrote back, and this is what they said that the exercise did for them. They developed interpersonal and teamwork skills, communication skills, digital skills, professionalism, research skills, intercultural fluencies, because that in itself is a language, leadership skills, and problem-solving skills. Overall, students reported that the experience taught them about endurance and how to deal with difficult people. We all have to learn to do that. They also enjoyed working as part of a team, meeting and interacting with fellow volunteers, and especially for the non-Barbadian students, visiting a diverse range of communities up and down the length of Barbados. What a rich experience for UWI students. I feel almost as if I should say, you need to come to the CaveHill campus if you haven't been here before. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join me this afternoon, wherever you are, in applauding their heroic efforts and their monumental accomplishment in helping health authorities in Barbados to keep COVID-19 in check and under a great measure of control. And I keep saying in Barbados because we are located here, I want to send a signal to other Caribbean countries. We have a template. We have developed a whole system. If you want to use us to do something similar in your country, reach out to us, reach out to the deputy principal, the campus registrar, and we will organize how we can assist you because the UWI serves the region and the CaveHill campus cares especially about serving the Eastern Caribbean. Before I close, I wish to say a few words about another student-oriented, national development initiative, this one in Barbados, the government of Barbados's Give Back program, which requires that students who receive state-sponsored tuition enter a volunteer work scheme with approved state or private agencies for a certain number of hours. While COVID-19 conditions shuttered many businesses and offices and therefore limited the number of opportunities for students to give back, the enthusiasm shown towards Operation Seek and Save was a clear demonstration that our students remain fully committed to service and show a very high interest in meeting these obligations. As I indicated, the aim of the Give Back program in Barbados is to instill a sense of responsibility in citizens to contribute to the well-being of the country through civic responsibility and volunteer service. And we in the senior management at the CaveHill campus fully support it. We think it's a wonderful idea. I wish to point out that these types of experiential and work-ready preparatory activities promote the acquisition of workplace skills and help nurture the distinctive UWI graduate. I urge more employers to participate, especially those who lead in the constant cry for a UWI work-ready graduate. So instead of criticizing the campus and describing it as failed, think of ways you can employ UWI CaveHill students, because in the process, you will be helping us to create the employers of the future and the employees of the future and good citizens. Through internship, help us to create the employee or the client you would like to have. And frequently we get complaints that our students are not ready for the place of work. I don't know any CEO who started at the top. I remember I entered the workforce as a young untrained teacher, and then I had training. And I entered the university as a research assistant. I am demitting office as a principal and pro-vice chancellor. So we have to create the opportunities to enable students to become the leaders and the contributors we want. And every investment in criticism should be an investment in creating opportunities, because these young men and women are the future. COVID-19 and the recent ash fall from the volcanic activity in neighboring St. Vincent dealt the Give Back program a severe blow owing to the nationwide shutdowns, national pauses, and businesses and office closures. This led to numerous participating entities pausing their involvement with the program, resulting in a considerable reduction of volunteer opportunities for our Barbadian students. While numerous students expressed concern over the lack of available volunteer opportunities, it is clear that the pandemic did not stop those who were determined to fulfill their civic duty from rising to the challenge whenever an opportunity arose. I can report that in addition to the 916 students who registered for the Seek and Save initiative, 575 registered for the National Immunization Campaign Initiative. 2,969 registered with the Give Back program. And it is not their fault that they have been unable to fulfill the hours. They want to do it. 266 students registered for an opportunity to assist the government of Barbados, specifically the Ministry of Health and Wellness, with possible contact tracing on campus if this was requested, because if this was needed, it would be under the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And the students were saying if this was ever needed, we would assist. And thankfully, we have not had to utilize anyone for this latter activity. But again, if we had to, it would be the Ministry of Health and Wellness given the go-ahead, not the CaveHill campus. But however, at the CaveHill campus, we have had no clusters of outbreaks, and we are extremely grateful. Like other places in Barbados, we are doing very strict sanitization and all kind of cleaning all the time, but we are indeed grateful that we have had no outbreaks or clusters. Operation Seek and Save has shown that all our students are committed to serving. Our Barbadian students demonstrate that they remain steady to participate in the Give Back program when opportunities arise. I am confident they will apply themselves with a dedication equal to that of their fellow students whom we have saluted today and who will forever remain in our hearts for their magnanimous self-sacrifice. Again, I thank all of you for your outstanding civic duty. And I wish to thank and ask all of you here and watching on Zoom to again join me in recognizing them today. Congratulations, students, you have done us proud. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you, Professor Barato, for those welcoming remarks. I think we can certainly understand and appreciate why you insisted that we have this virtual appreciation ceremony for students. And based on your remarks, we really saw the importance that the students made, the heroes and the sheroes, as you call them, made to impact the lives of Barbados and Barbadian in general, community in general. So, as the country grappled with the challenges posed by the community spread of COVID-19 and the resurgence of dengue fever, the government of Barbados conducted a national survey called Operation Seek and Save. The survey gathered useful information to shape national public health strategy to swiftly arrest the public health issues that we were facing. So, as you heard, our student volunteers, or CaveHill heroes and sheroes, of the UWI CaveHill campus were deployed in communities across the island to gather this information. So we invite you to listen to the tribute video of Operation Seek and Save, with special appearances by Dr. Dia Greenidge and Lieutenant Colonel Julian Brown.
It has been a groundbreaking exercise in terms of what we have been able to deliver.
In just 21 days, the UWI CaveHill campus rolled out Operation Seek and Save, a major data-gathering exercise in partnership with the government of Barbados as it stepped up its fight against COVID-19 and dengue. Armed with personal protective equipment, students from several faculties across campus collected the information from the Barbadian households in the company of soldiers from the Barbados Defense Force. The operation was led by Head of the Department of Management Studies, Dr. Dion Greenidge.
What we really want to do was simply have persons complete that survey on an electronic device and shoot that information to our server, bring that almost in real-time fashion to the analytics center, be able to analyze that information, and then to get that information we have a second team out there, and that second team, not usually students, again, but the Ministry of Health officials, and in terms of if there are risk factors or there are risk cases, right? And because again, remember, the option here, we're looking at dengue risk factors and COVID risk factors.
Business analytics student Dorian Mayers was one of the key team members at the command center at the 3Ws Oval.
We had like a week to pretty much conceptualize this. So it went straight from the ground, figuring out what would be fastest and getting some up. We had a couple iterations on different platforms. Other limitations that made us, switch from one to the next until we finally landed on this one, Survey Solutions.
Mayers credits Dr. Greenidge for encouraging him to participate in Operation Seek and Save and says he is grateful for the opportunity.
It was a learning experience on many different fronts because, like I said, never had to do anything like it before and figuring out all these different aspects of what works, what doesn't work, because I had to go now and set up the servers and stuff for this to handle everything. So I think it's the give and take between the stress that it was and the part where I could take away from it. I think it balances out now.
The Barbados Defense Force also played a critical role in the execution of Operation Seek and Save.
It was an interesting experience for them. It would have been the first time that they would have been called upon to do a duty such as this. And I'm sure that you all learned a lot from one another and made friends which would carry on throughout your careers. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of the university community who worked behind the scenes to ensure that you received all of the logistic requirements that you wanted and needed for this project.
And for Dr. Greenidge, Operation Seek and Save was also part of CaveHill's program of giving back to the community.
University of the West Indies, we always believe that we have a mandate in our community, whether it be Barbados or across the region. And this is an important exercise for us to assist and help the governments of the region who have always been helpful and useful to the university, and therefore we will want to give back. First, I want to begin by thanking the senior management of the university for their support and oversight of the Seek and Save project. The Seek and Save project was a very important one for the nation, and I want to thank you, the students, those who went in the field for the 21 days, for taking part in this very important exercise. This exercise saw us surveying 86,567 households from 313 electoral districts in 30 constituencies, representing 165,907 household members. During that process, your hard work resulted in us being able to identify 20 positive results from 281 rapid antigen tests, 242 PCR tests. So there you see, your work was very important to the exercise. At this time, I also want to give special note to the students in the Business Analytics program who were there from the inception. From the very beginning, we were out testing the app that they would have developed to ensure that we could have collected this data in a timely fashion and be able to report daily what was going on in the field. Prevalent tests like these are very important. We would have also adapted the tests to suit our conditions and resources here in Barbados. But these students will have to learn quickly what such an exercise entails and build a system that can ensure that we accomplish the task as we have done. We know there were challenges, but I want to thank you for putting up with those challenges and rising to the occasion. So what that meant you learned skills, leadership skills. Going into the field, you learn how to deal with confrontational situations. You learn how to react under pressure, but still remain calm under pressure, right? You would have also learned data collection skills, something about actually going into the field and collecting real data and being involved in a project. And many of you gave suggestions over the period of time as to how we can improve from day to day. And for that, I thank you sincerely.
I am Lieutenant Colonel Junior Brown, and I was the co-coordinator for logistics for Operation Seek and Save. It was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be part of this project, which was executed by the university on behalf of the government of Barbados. First, let me congratulate you, the students, for a tremendous job done throughout the weeks of Operation Seek and Save. It was no mean task to touch over 85,000 households in order to find out the state of COVID-19 and dengue within our communities. So bravo and well done to you. At this point, I would like to take this opportunity as well to congratulate those members of the Barbados Defence Force who worked alongside you throughout the time of this project, from packaging of the materials, the phones, the PPEs, etc., getting the water out to you on a daily basis. We had members of staff from the office management team, campus security, student services. It was a whole team effort to ensure that this project was a success. And your efforts on the ground were awesome. I remember there were a few occasions where we had persons who were injured in the field but wanted to continue with the project. They didn't want to stop. They just came back in, went to the student health clinic, got patched up, and were back out on the road. Such was your desire to ensure that this was a success for the university and for Barbados. We also had occasions where there were teams that completed their tasks in record time and were able to assist others who had bigger areas and more difficult communities to traverse. And the level of teamwork that was displayed was very commendable as well. So bravo once again to you. And I want to also thank our supporters, members of the corporate Barbados, the various ministries that provided assistance to the university to ensure that Operation Seek and Save was able to help the people of Barbados. Thank you.
It has been a groundbreaking exercise in terms of what we have been able to deliver.
In just 21 days, the
Wow, what an amazing video. Amazing. Give yourself a round of applause during the Zoom track. Drop that applause icon, or you can also just type applause if you can't find it. Don't worry, we got you covered. Also on Facebook, I know we have some listeners tuning in on Facebook, so you can also, applause yourself. Give yourself another round of applause for that. I felt so inspired by the work of the team and, of course, our CaveHill heroes and sheroes who were deployed in communities across Barbados. So before we get to the next video, Principal paused for a moment to remind me, so I'm going to pause right now so I can also do it. The principal wants to send a heartfelt thank you to the team of the Office of Marketing and Communication. Your work has been amazing, and we can evidently see it by this video that we just watched as well. So thank you to the Marcoms team on behalf of the principal. So just continuing, the UWI CaveHill campus also contributed to the rollout of the island's COVID-19 vaccination program, with student volunteers assisting with data entry at the various vaccination sites. So we heard about the student that the principal met with when she went to get her COVID vaccine. But now we're going to pause to hear from some of the officials who worked with our students on this campaign.
I would like to express my sincere gratitude and thanks to the students of the University of the West Indies who were a crucial part in the teams that worked with the vaccination program. The students were mainly involved in the SHAPE app, recording the data so that we can get the statistics at the end of each day. We also have another group of students who are involved in the call center who are actually calling up scheduling appointments. And I think both groups of students have had to be very meticulous and accurate in the way they have dealt with the public. Certainly the call center people have been having an experience, especially calling the older people, because what we thought may have been a 5-minute telephone call has really turned out to be a half-an-hour telephone call, as a lot of the elderly population were quite keen to have somebody to engage in the conversation. From the bottom of my heart, I extend my sincere gratitude to all of those students who have made this process the success it has been. Of course, we have had our challenges, but we've been able to change and adapt and be able to facilitate the process where necessary.
I'm Elizabeth Ferdinand, and I'm a retired Senior Medical Officer of Health from the Ministry of Health. I have been asked to be the co-coordinator of the vaccination program for COVID-19 pandemic. I want to agree with my co-coordinator, Major David Clark, in thanking the university and all the students who took part in our campaign. During the time they've spent with us, they have learned how to deal with the public, and those of you who are listening know it's not an easy thing to deal with the public generally, but they have been able to manage that. They have to do the work that they were asked to do, which is computer work and entering of data. They have learned how to work as a team, because our campaign involved multidisciplinary people working as a team. And so they have been doing that, and very successfully. I first met them when they came to have their vaccination and to be orientated to what they were going to do. And they were such an enthusiastic bunch. I remember them, of course, they were a bit nervous about having the vaccine, because I had it the same day as they did, and that was like just the first day of the beginning of the campaign. But so they were a little nervous, but they settled in quickly, and they were so enthusiastic that they all went out and took a picture of them with their blue cards in the air and put it on social media. So, you know, it was, I think, a good experience for them. And we were happy to have them. We have been happy with the quality of their work. During my visits to all the different sites, I have interacted with everyone. And of course, the students have been no exception. I asked them how they're doing, how things are going, and they've always been polite. They've told me exactly what the problems are. They've told me the highlights, and I have been very happy being with them and working with them. I just want to make sure that I thank them particularly, because in this day and age, a lot of people don't volunteer for things. And the whole true spirit of volunteerism has been brought out in this particular aspect of our campaign. So I really want to thank them individually and as a whole. And of course, I want to thank the university that has allowed them to take part in this campaign and the whole venture of being volunteers in the vaccination campaign.
Good day, my name is Carla Aline. I am the volunteer coordinator for the COVID-19 vaccination team. I have been working with the UWI students now for just about 3 months, and I can say that it's been a really interesting and fantastic experience with them. For them, it's been, I would say, an adventure, learning patience and also learning about Barbados, because the ones I work directly with are the ones who are making the calls to people to tell them where and when their appointments are. So the students have had themselves to figure out how to get to the glebe, how to get to the IDC building 2. Over the last few weeks, they've been developing their communication skills, which is extremely important for them as they're about to enter into the world of work.
Hi, I'm Roxanne Fort, the coordinator for the ShapeUp volunteers with the COVID-19 vaccination unit. Over the last 3 months, I've had the pleasure of working with the university students, and it has been an absolute pleasure. They have been arduous in their tasks. They've paused only for exams or to go to class, but they've been there throughout the entire entire 3 months. It's easy to call on them sometimes at the last minute, and they fill in wherever they are needed. Some of them started doing this for their give back hours, and it turned out for them as a way to help the nation through this crisis, as what people have been terming the new normal. So it helps the nation grow. As young people, it helps them to progress into, as Carla would have stated earlier, into the world of work. So I applaud them for being a part of this program, being just there when they're needed the most.
Amazing. Another round of applause. Let's see those applause through the chat as well as on Facebook. Thank you so much to Ms. Fort, we heard from Ms. Aline, and of course the co-coordinators, Dr. Ferdinand and Major Clark. What an inspirational story, isn't it?
It is.
It's very, very inspiring. And certainly the vaccination campaign is still ongoing. And so we really want to sincerely thank also our volunteers who are part of the national vaccination efforts across Barbados. So, as you know, the UWI CaveHill campus, we do value student experiences, and student experiences is critical to the work that we do. And so it is indeed very exciting for us that we actually do have two of our student volunteers who are here, who would also share a little bit about their experiences being a part of Operation Seek and Save and of course the national vaccination efforts. So first, it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. William Gordon. He will speak about Operation Seek and Save. And then he'll be followed by Ms. Sashia Reed Thomas, and she is still volunteering with the national vaccination campaign. So thank you to the vaccination efforts for loaning her for just a few moments to give us some remarks.
Protocol already having been established. Good afternoon. I am almost convinced that Professor Barato was out in the field amongst us undercover. I know she said she was at home praying, but she almost recounted a lot of what I was going to say in her opening remarks, so I'll get right to it. I believe that to serve one's country is perhaps one of the proudest achievements for any citizen. And I stand before this room today to represent over 400 extremely proud citizens of the university as well as Barbados who had the opportunity to give back to our country and to take part in such an important exercise as it relates to defending the health of our country from this COVID virus. I don't think that any of us really understood what we signed up for. We knew the name of the program, but in terms of being out in the field and the task that was required of us, I don't really think that we understood exactly what we were going to have to do. When we showed up here the morning of February 3rd, we were nervous. I was nervous, and I was really just ready to get on the road and get out into the field. But as fate would have it, we started the next day. The following day, we got out into the community. We stepped off the bus and started to walk the road, and our Defense Force coordinator, he gave us a good look at the road and he said, this is where we start, and the journey began. So we knocked on our first set of houses and didn't get any answers. I didn't get any answers, so I had to go to the next one. And eventually I got some answers, and you explained yourself, and a lot of the people at first didn't really understand what was going on. I don't think the media covered it that well at the beginning, but as we got into it, probably about week 2, people were really starting to expect us, and there were people looking out for us and making sure that they were home so that they could speak to us. And I think people really look forward to seeing us a lot. And when you got to a house and the people made sure that they came out to speak to you and gave you something to submit, because they told us we had to get something like 24 responses per person every day. And when we heard that at first, we were like, wow, 24 responses to submit every day, that sounds like a lot. But when people actually did come out and talk to us, it helped us knock off our numbers, and we felt good because walking out there in the hot sun every day, it wasn't fun to knock on a house and get no answer. We wanted to talk to people. So when we did get the chance to talk to people, it was really nice. And we did what we had to do. We asked the questions. We couldn't get into too much small talk because we had a lot of houses to cover. We were told, ask questions, move to the next house, don't waste time. And that's what we tried to do. And I think that every student put their best foot forward. I know my team, St. Michael's South Central, we were one of the teams that were told that we knocked off our district in record time. It was something like about 10 days we covered our entire area. So we were out helping some of the other groups that needed an extra hand. And we go into a routine after a while. Wake up, get there, slave away during the day, get back home miserable, sleep, rest up, get back, repeat. It was a bit of a drill, but as you worked into it, you got accustomed to it, and you knew you had to get the job done. So you put the fatigue away, you put I don't want to go out there and do this. You put that behind you, and you got the job done. And I'm so proud of all of us. I'm proud of every single student that took the time to fight for their country for the 3 weeks that we were on the road. And I just want to thank the university, thank the government of Barbados, thank everyone, thank the Defense Force coordinators for coming out with us and making sure that we were safe. I don't want to thank COVID for the opportunity to do this. We'll just acknowledge that it was significant in causing this to happen, but we're not going to thank him. But without COVID, none of this would have been possible. So I want to thank all the students again for putting their best foot forward and making the effort as successful as it was. I want to big up St. Michael South Central again. We were the best team, and just thank you very much for fighting for the country. We are grateful to have had the opportunity, and we look forward to serving the community at large in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was introduced into the vaccination program through the Duke of Edinburgh Award when our program manager sent an email requesting you student participants to assist at various polyclinics and vaccine locations with data entry into the sheet app. I, along with other participants, showed interest and went through an online training program that showed us how to operate the app. This was followed by an information with a list of polyclinics and their contacts. After training, I contacted my nearest polyclinic sister, which was the Randall Phillips Polyclinic in Oysters Christchurch. My volunteer journey began. It has been a wonderful experience since day one, February 24th, 2021. So that our polyclinic could resume its normal service to the public, the vaccination team has moved to Sandals Royale in Maxwell Post Road, Christchurch. My daily task was entering vaccine-related information into the SHAPE system. But what I enjoyed most about my job is interacting with the people, especially the elderly. When I was at the Polyclinic in Oysters during administration of the first jab, the elderly and I had some lovely conversations while I entered their data into the system. Because of COVID and the restrictions that were in place, a lot of them were forced to stay at home. I had no one to talk to. So I felt really glad that they were comfortable enough to talk with me, and I had the opportunity to give them a space for a conversation and connect with someone. I love volunteering. Not only am I an active member of the Duke of Edinburgh Award, but I have been an active member of the Barbados Girl Guides Association for 15 years. So volunteering comes natural for me. I would like to encourage young people to volunteer because it gives us the experience that we may need. and can be quite useful further down in life. I would like to encourage all persons to volunteer, young and old, to give of their time, not only to feel obligated or forced to do it. Let it come from you. I would like to, sorry, I would like to encourage all persons, when you are willing to give of your time, the task is done. You feel accomplished, and to me, there's nothing that makes me any more happy than seeing smiles on others' faces and the knowledge that I have given my best. With volunteering, you are giving of your time and skills selflessly, without expectation. But I learned over the years that always receive one of blessings, a smile, another opportunity, meeting great people, new skills and experiences, and sometimes unexpected surprises. This opportunity to volunteer with the vaccination program has been very enjoyable to date, and I believe that it will continue to be for me and my colleagues across Barbados volunteering at other centers. I am sure everyone will agree, each day brings new faces. Now with the second vaccines, we will sometimes see someone we've met before for sure. We will meet wonderful Barbadians and persons who have made Barbados their home every day. To serve them and to continue to serve them will always be a pleasure.
Wow, thank you so much, William. And it's falling away from me. Don't worry, we have everything together. Alrighty, so I was saying thank you so much, William and Sasha, for really sharing your experiences and fighting and defending your country. I like that. It's really a noble thing to do, and we're all very, very grateful for your experiences. And also, Sasha, I think connecting to the elderly is something that we really sometimes are not doing as good as we can as a community, and certainly we're happy that you were able to make that connection, and you and other volunteers as well who were able to make that connection with our communities. And I know the principal had already shared some experiences of friends of hers who were offering sweet bread to our volunteers. You know, and I know it was out of the kindness of their heart, so we really do appreciate anyone who's listening who offered any form of thank yous to our students. So thank you to both of you, and thank you to all of our volunteers in Operation Seek and Save, and of course, the National Vaccination Campaign. So as we've been mentioning, Operation Seek and Save and the COVID-19 vaccination program are initiatives of the government of Barbados, of which the UWI CaveHill campus was very excited and happy to support. So here to bring some gratitude on behalf of the government of Barbados, please join me in virtually welcoming the Honorable Mia Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados.
Hello, friends all. Today, I truly welcome the opportunity to say thanks to you, the students of the Cave Hill campus of the UWI. You have been at the heart of our fight against COVID-19 in our Seek and Save initiative. When you entered this university, it was for the purpose of learning. Through this program, though, you have taught the whole country most a valuable lesson in civics, in bravery, in compassion. When we as a nation decided that there was immense value in bearing the financial burden of covering your education costs at this university, we did so with the clear understanding that the country would always benefit as you succeeded and as you gave back. But what you have given to our country by manning the data entry process of the national vaccination effort, even after the Operation Seek and Save initiative, both of these things have surpassed what would otherwise have been envisaged as a student's repayment of his or her debt. You have set for all others still at this university, and for those who will follow you at UWI, a new benchmark for what Operation Give Back will mean for future students. Trust me on this. At the same time, though, I hope that the lessons of the past year have cemented in your minds a concept that service to your community, service to our community, must be a lifelong experience. This, my friends, will be critical as we move forward in a post-COVID Barbados and in a post-COVID world, because of the extent to which we will have to assist always the most vulnerable among us. Getting individuals and families back on their feet will require us to extend a helping hand, perhaps unmatched by any period in our modern history. Volunteerism, no doubt, will have to be a key component in our building forward better for our people. Thankfully, your visits to almost 100,000 households across this nation during Seek and Save would have given you an opportunity to see the good, the bad, the not so good, the not so bad, the rich, the poor, the ones in between, the healthy, the unwell, the confident, and those with dismay. As you operate the SHAPE app, you are not just manipulating data, you are capturing the stories of our lives. You've seen the anxiety and the fear, the uncertainty and the doubt. You saw firsthand where social, color, and class lines melted just before your very eyes for a vaccine whose efficacy is not influenced by where you live or how much money you have. You have had the opportunity, my friends, to live the experiences that must be integral to the lessons for all Barbadians as we build forward better. And yes, as we go forward, you must teach those lessons to those with whom you interact in the rest of your lives, for you now have a duty to pay it forward. So again, my friends, please accept my sincere thanks. Gratitude on behalf of this nation. The war against COVID-19, yes, is still very much alive. We've come far from the beginning of this year. Through your efforts and your determination, working with us. We ask you, use this moment always to remind you never, ever, ever to give in to fear when others were suggested to you that this exercise would expose you to unreasonable risk. You came forward and stepped up to the plate. And don't give in to anger, for when others rejected your approach, you have shown them that by staying focused and doing what you intended to do to help others, you have contributed to our winning this battle. And we must win it each and every day. For as I've said over and over, we cannot afford to let our guard down. Our nation's investment in you has therefore already paid handsome dividends. I wish you well in all of your future endeavors. But I cannot end this note of appreciation without also recognizing the University of the West Indies as an institution. Some of my best working years have been spent as a member of the Council of CaveHill and of the University of the West Indies. And I was delighted to join once again the University Grants Committee and to play my part in making sure that you, the children of this region, can stand tall and make way for other children to come through this wonderful institution that has served us so well over the course of the last 7 decades. I want to thank the Vice Chancellor of this university, Sir Hilary Beckles. I want to thank your Principal, the Most Honourable Eugene Barreto. I want to thank Dr. Dion Greenidge, Dr. Kenneth Connell, Lieutenant Colonel Brown, all of you and all who worked with you to ensure that this unprecedented national effort was a success. Thank you, thank you. This experience is undoubtedly a representation of the relationship we want always going forward. The real potential of our intellectual resources at CaveHill has never been truly tapped in my view, but we will continue to draw upon you because you are integral to this nation's development. And at the personal level, you as a student will always come out better when you have been exposed to those difficulties and challenges that your community, your nation must face. For it is your future that depends on us being successful in resolving these challenges. Be warned, therefore, expect the calls for national duty going forward. I am not hiding my mouth, I'm telling you up front, expect the calls. So when all is said and done, thank you and God bless. Take care.
And thank you so much, Prime Minister. We will be looking forward to it. Just so you know, volunteers, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister said it best. Volunteering is key to building back better. And certainly through your efforts in Operation Seek and Save and the national vaccination campaign, you have contributed to building back a better Barbados. So give yourselves another round of applause for that. So an event of this magnitude, you know, really takes a lot of players, and we do have to offer some bit of gratitude, some bit of thanks. So to give us our vote of thanks, it is indeed my pleasure to welcome our Deputy Principal, Professor Winston Moore.
All protocols having been observed. Good afternoon, everyone. I joined a growing list of individuals thanking our student volunteers for their work and patience on both of these projects. You have indeed made us very proud, and have displayed the qualities of a well-rounded student of a prestigious higher education institution. I, however, also wish to express my gratitude to a few other individuals this evening. I first wish to extend my gratitude to my colleagues physically here with me today, Professor the Most Honorable V. Udine Barto, Pro Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of West Indies CaveHill campus, who would have dealt with many of the background issues related to both of these initiatives to ensure they were a success. These included organizing late night meetings, as well as weekend meetings, interfacing with ministers, as well as motivating the team. Here with us also today is Ms. Lisa Allen, the campus bursar, as well as Mr. Ramel Carter, the campus registrar, two vital members of campus's senior management team. Within their roles, they too would have helped with the overall management of both of these initiatives. Thank you to our student volunteers who are with us here this evening, who are very reflective of the type of students that would have participated in this program. Thank you very much for your presentations here this evening. I also wish to extend my greetings to our speakers, who, though they could not be with us here today, took time out of their very demanding schedules to send in their remarks. At the forefront is none other than the Prime Minister, the Honorable Mia Mortley, whose determination to manage the effects of the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic led to the creation and execution of both of these programs. We also thank the national vaccination coordinators of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign, Dr. Elizabeth Ferdinand, as well as Major David Clark. Our Seek and Save coordinators, Dr. Dion Greenwich, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Junior Brown. The aforementioned individuals are primarily responsible for creation and execution of these programs. However, I also wish to take a few moments to acknowledge a few other persons whose participation and involvement ensured their success. These included the chairman, but not limited to, the chairman of the Cabinet Subcommittee on the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Jerome Walcott, who contributed PPEs, water, and also devices from Digicel. Mention should also be made of the Ministry of Innovation and Smart Technology, the Barbados Transport Board, as well as the Seek and Save project, or the Seek and Save project. The Barbados Defense Force personnel, with special mention to Colonel Glenn Granham, as well as Captain Natalie Haynes, as well as the Royal Barbados Police Force. The senior nurses at the polyclinics, volunteer coordinators, and our corporate partners, Armstrong Agencies, Innotech, Hay Communications. Our staff and in-house support systems are not to be forgotten, including, but not limited to, the Office of the Principal, the Office of Student Services, Campus Security, the Office of Institutional Planning and Infrastructural Services, the Bursary, Campus IT Services, and of course, Marcoms. I also need to I also need to give special mention to none other than Dr. Yolande Cook, who provided critical logistical support to both programs. Upon seeing the work that our students would have put into these programs, she believed that we should indeed do more beyond just the stipends and give back hours and have an event such as this. I wish to thank members of the planning committee for this event, Dr. Sonia Pierce, who has been behind the scenes running around, making sure that we're all where we should be. Ms. Valerie Hunt from the Office of the Deputy Principal. In addition to our chair this evening, Mr. Khalid Holder and Ms. Gloria Harper from the Office of Student Services. The streaming and production of this event would not be possible without the support of Mr. Marlon Woodruff and the team from Marcoms, who displayed their professionalism and expert skills, even while also preparing for our upcoming virtual Student Awards ceremony. Please look out for that. As well as campus IT services who assisted with the setup and production of this event. The truth is, if I were to truly acknowledge each individual outside of our student volunteers who significantly contributed to the success of these programs, we would easily be here for another hour. But please note that your role in the nation's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic is not forgotten or taken lightly. The camaraderie, the determination, the commitment, and sacrifice demonstrated by all frontline and background personnel on both of these projects is a positive indicator of what we can accomplish as a people working towards a common goal. From the bottom of our hearts, we say thank you and do have a good evening.
Thank you, Professor Moore, for delivering the vote of thanks. I thought you covered everybody. I was thinking to myself, wow, this is a very thorough thank you. But thank you for thanking us. It was indeed our pleasure in whatever sphere that we were in. I'm absolutely sure our volunteers and those on Facebook, family, friends watching on are also very happy to have been part of this effort as well. So thank you to you for delivering the vote of thanks. So students, guests, campus community, we are actually now at the end of the ceremony, but please don't go yet. As a final thank you, we do invite you to view the names of our student volunteers who were part of this important program and this important initiative. Just a reminder to students to please check your email sometime tomorrow. We hope to share some information to you on how you can collect your certificate of appreciation. It has the principal's signature and everything on it. She insisted that it must be signed by her. And we will be distributing these certificates from Wednesday, 19th May until Tuesday, 25th of May. And of course, as with always, all COVID-19 protocols will be observed. Please continue to stay safe and follow all health and safety protocols. The names should be coming up on your screen now. Thank you all and travel safely wherever you are.